this idea that people on universal credit are either lazy or always unemployed or whatever is fantasy. Like, it starts off like that. Maybe it used to be like that when it was, you know, the dole, like 20 years ago or 40 years ago or something. But now we actually are living in a world where it's getting worse. The number of people who are seeking income support in some capacity is growing and growing. And I always think of it a bit like the housing crisis. Like, it started off with people saying, oh, I wish I could get on the housing ladder. And then their parents would say, like, oh, well, just do what we did. And you could almost box up these sort of piecemeal examples of, like, that guy down the road can't get on the ladder, but that's okay because most other people can. And then it bled out to a few more people and a few different age brackets and a few more professions. And now we're in a situation where, like my mother-in-law knows a GP in Peckham, and she was saying, you know, GPs, how much do they earn? They're on a pretty good wedge, and he is still living with his parents. He can't get on the ladder. And I'm like, that's where food banks and universal credit is kind of getting to now. Like, it starts off in a subset of people, and until it doesn't, until it bleeds out into the wider community. Sorry, I've taken us way off on a tangent myself there.
No, put though, that's a really important point to make, actually.
Yeah, it is. There's I don't remember the actual figures, but, like, I did a video a couple of months ago, and I was like, this girl was saying, like, oh, well, but, you know, but Labour, the usual thing. And I was like, right, I'm really sorry that your family had to use food banks during Labour's tenure. And I'm going to spitball the figures, but they will not be far off what they are. When Labour were last in power, like the last year that they were in power, I think it was 91,000 food banks that were had in the UK. That's octupled, I think it is. Like, it's gone up so much. The usage of it has gone up so much. And that is an indictment on the government. And everybody can do well, Labour left us with debt, blah, blah, blah. First of all, not true. But secondly, we are 12 years into a Tory government. If they cannot control finances and have, in fact, made it that much markedly worse, the time has come to stop saying but Labour and start saying, but why not? Like, why aren't you sorting it out? But Labour, okay, if Labour was so bad, but you've had 12 years to sort this out. What have you done?
Yeah. And well, there's no escaping it, is there? Like, you've been in power for over a decade. If you've not only made, like, you've made no progress in this area, that area, and the other area, and, like, the graphs speak for themselves. Like, there was one that was doing the rounds this week about education funding over, like, since Labour have left power. For state schools, and it's just gone like plateaued. Meanwhile, like, private school funding and private school subsidies has soared. It's stuff like that. It's stuff like the funding of the NHS. You know, all of these graphs are, like, self-evident. You can see the impact that Tory cuts have had across British society, but yet still. You still get these fucking morons that are just like, oh, I just wish there was some sort of credible opposition. It's like, are you fucking mental?
Do you know what? Labour could rock up, like, Keir Starmer could ride up to the hustings on a fucking elephant wearing a tutu and wings. And actually, this would probably make me vote for him more, but he could turn up, like, doing a proper Bim face, and Bim face actually has some salient points. The point is, it could be mental and it would still be better than what we've got at the moment. Like, their legacy speaks for itself. And what you were referring to about the private school, like, funding going, like, stratospheric, he posted about, oh, we're going to make sure your kids can do basic maths and English. It's like, what the fuck? Like, this is stuff that these kids should all be doing, but they're not, because they're probably at school really hungry, knackered, cold to start with. Because of your massive cuts. There's another C word that really fits them.
For a second there, I was like, fucking hell, Tan's about to drop the C-bomb.
Massive cuts, the lot of you. But then you look at, like, things like the NI hike, which is, again, them getting us to pay for an NHS that they've catastrophically underfunded. And, you know, that was in major trouble before a pandemic. They ignored 2 independent reports into a pandemic response. They didn't buy all the stuff we needed. And they never had a social care plan.
It feels like in every major pillar of British society, they've fantastically failed. Like, education has tanked. the NHS is tanked, social care, all of these areas where the idea is that you elect a local representative to represent your thoughts, feelings, concerns on a national level.